Item G, regular calendar. G1.
Thank you, Chair Danzel. Item G1 is to authorize the district administrator to execute a park use agreement with the Cordova Community Council to allow the use of the Village Green for the annual holiday tree lighting event on November 29th, 2015. I am not going to read this report. We do this every year. Once again, also note that a few years ago when I came in, we decided to do an annual coverage of all their events to make sure that they're held for the season. Some of our bigger events, much like the tree lighting, have some logistics that needed to be spelled out in additional contractual language, which we do every year, and this is the approval of that item. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know that Shelley is in the audience. She'd probably also be happy to answer any questions as well.
Any questions for Administrator Adams or Ms. Blanchard from the Cordova Community Council? Hearing none,
I'd like to move the Board of Directors authorize the District Administrator to execute the park use agreement with the Cordova Community Council to allow the use of the Village Green for the annual holiday tree lighting event on November 29, 2015.
I have a motion by Director Reyes. Do I hear a second?
I would like to second that.
I have a second by Secretary Lineback. Roll call vote.
Thank you. Board Member Yearwood.
Aye.
Board Member Reyes.
Aye.
Secretary Lembeck.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Sloan.
Aye.
And Chairperson Danzel.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Item G2.
Yes, item G2 is a resolution, and that's to adopt Resolution 15/16-27 and authorize the district administrator to record grant deeds for 6 parcels conveying the title of real property within the Cavala Ranch residential development for landscape corridors to the district. Once again, this is a development function. We do it by resolution. I won't read the whole resolution, just to know that at the time that these properties are developed and finished after the appropriate maintenance period and additional requirements that the district has, we accept them as properties that we will maintain as part of the land use agreement and or the park development agreement for that area. And that's these 6 parcels.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that we adopt Resolution 15/16-27 and authorize the district administrator to record grant deeds for 6 parcels conveying title of real property within the Cavala Ranch residential development for landscape corridors to the district.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Sloan. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Director Reyes. Roll call vote.
Board Member Yearwood.
Aye.
Board Member Reyes.
Aye.
Secretary Lineback.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Sloan.
Aye.
And Chairperson Danzel.
Aye. Motion passes. Let's move to G3, please.
Yes, item G3 is to adopt Resolution 15/16-28 and authorize the district administrator to sign the agreement to the grant easement to the Sacramento Municipal Utility District for Heron Landing Community Park Site APN 067-0430-029. This is a standard utility easement that we do on properties we develop. SMUD will need to have access as there are transformers going on site that they will need to maintain. Once again, typical of our development that we have to provide easements to the utilities in order to let them have access. If there's any questions, myself or Laura Taylor will be happy to answer.
Any questions from Ms. Taylor or Administrator Adams at this time? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
So go ahead, Michael. Go.
I'll move the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 15/16-28 and authorize the District Administrator to sign the agreement to grant easement to the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, SMUD, for the Heron Landing Community Park Site, APN 067-0430-029.
I have a motion from Director Yearwood. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Director Reyes. Roll call vote.
Thank you. Board Member Yearwood.
Aye.
Board Member Reyes.
Aye.
Secretary Lineback.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Sloan.
Aye.
And Chairperson Danzel.
Aye. Thank you, folks. Motion passes. Let's move on to item H, Board of Director items.
Thank you, Chair Danzel. Item H is board members are asked to report on meeting attendance in compliance with the Government Code Section 53232.3D. And with that, we have board member reports. Item A, training, CSDA conference. Chair Danzel, board members Linebeck, Reyes, and Yearwood.
Thank you. So, Mr. Yearwood, I'm going to start with you tonight. Tell us a little bit about your conference. Don't steal all the thunder. The rest of us have to report out, so.
And you always start with me, so that's no surprise, but,
Exactly.
well, it was very interesting. I didn't know what to expect since it was kind of my first one. There's a lot of great information. I like the fact that, you can go to different types of things and get different types of views on things. I mean, I got more out of some than I did others, and I don't have those notes here with me. I left them at home, but most of them were pretty good. I don't know the name of I can't recall the name of the gentleman that's going to come here and do the.
Brent.
Thank you. Oh, that's right. Brent Ives, Burl Ives. I try to remember his name. His were those were the ones I probably enjoyed the most and got the most out of. They're very informative. He's as you guys know, a very good speaker. So it was, I learned a lot. And it was actually kind of nice to get to know some of the board a little more. So that's all I've got.
Great. Thank you. Director Reyes?
Yes, trainings like this are always valuable to me because we always walk away with something new, even if you attend a workshop that you think you've already attended. What we were able to do is it was really very, I would say, not just enjoyable. In some sense, it was almost a team building because we were able to not only go to the different workshops, but we were also able to retain and say, oh, here are some connections that we need to make. We were able to look at legal. Each of us had things that were our fortes, so we went ahead and we picked the different workshops. We also spent time just being together and finding out more about each other's life, family, etc. Because we don't discuss business or action items when we're together. We're very aware of that. And there were a few, I think, like, for example, the Form 700. That's always been so unclear. What do you do? How do you do it? When do you do it? And it's what we are supposed to fill out every March. And that was I attended that, and that was very eye-opening. Also, there was another workshop that I'll say I attended, which was one in dealing with difficult people. It was very, very good. And I liked that very much. And it was good because we were all there. You hear the same thing so you can understand, and it works. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Reyes. Secretary Lombard?
Yeah, well, I'll just sort of chime in the same thing. It was, it was actually my first CSDA conference. I've been to other conferences more related to the Capri Board, Insurance, and Joint Powers Authority. So this was my very first CSDA conference. I found it extremely helpful, a lot of good information, some really timely sessions on election laws, for instance. The issues with the CalPERS pension reform and those costs that are coming to the district, and things of the financial health of districts, and so I thought it was really worthwhile attending.
Great, thank you. My report on the conference, one of the things I liked most about it, and I still have it, and I need to get some of the information to staff, is they actually had an app that we could use, and I was just looking at it, and I still have my schedule still in there. So I was looking at some of the classes I took, getting the most out of your board committees, understanding and working with LAFCO, our local agency formation committee, navigating through audits. What's the other one? Is our board and staff the best they can be, and how to make them even better? But as some of the other directors said, it gives us a chance to be people and not talk business, which is nice. I've known Director Yearwood for many years. Now that he's a director, there's things that I want to talk to him about personal life again, because we're sitting in this boardroom and it's like that. But I've known Secretary Leinbach since he's joined the board, and I've learned a lot about her over the time, and Director Reyes. But it gave us a chance to bond and talk about who we are as people, because we sit up here and we don't have that access to each other because of certain things. But the classes I sat through were, like Director Reyes said, we all have our little niches. And for me, sitting on LAFCO committee, obviously that's why I wanted to sit there and listen to that one. I went to one that I had no clue what it was about. I learned a whole lot about it, and I've been asking lots of questions, and now I've heard people actually talk about it since. Was the CEQA one, because I'd heard the word, didn't really know what it was, kind of understand what's going on there. Very little now, but at least I, know what some of the things they can do. I think our keynote speaker on morning 2 with the internet was incredible, and
Scary.
it made a lot of people in the room a little leery about ever touching an electronic device again. But it was, it was great to, to learn what we should and shouldn't be doing on the internet, and so it gave us. It gave us a good chance to get some of those classes done. So that's all I have on the conference. Let's move into item H1B, which is community activity and meeting and report. And I'm going to start again with you, Director Yearwood.
Yeah. I didn't get my stuff back to Danielle in time, so there's only a few things listed on mine. There was actually other things, but I attended the Rancho Cordova City Council special meeting on September 28th, to where they passed their resolution to offer us $3 million. Well, I think we've talked enough about that. I attended our informal board meeting on the 29th. And let's see, I was back on October 5th. I was at the regular board meeting where they had their visioning session for the pool, and there was some interesting things folks asked, that they wanted in the pool that I hadn't heard before, the electronic scoreboard and things like that. So, it would be nice to be able to get something like that for them, but, as I have told several folks who've asked me about that, that would be something that would be nice to have, and if it works out, that's great. I also, what else did I do? The RCA meeting on October 6th, I attended that. And then I also attended a city meeting about a neighborhood meeting about the Bridgeway Square apartments over in Capitol Village. Because I was intrigued by something I saw online where the Park District had gotten mentioned in it. And it seemed as though those folks were concerned that if they build those apartments, that those folks were gonna get to use that park, scot-free, basically. So they informed them that there would definitely be some fees collected, I think to the tune of $50,000 or something potentially, to help maintain that park, because they were concerned that they thought their homeowner association fees paid to maintain those parks. They didn't realize there was an assessment that they paid for that, and that apartment complex, if built, would contribute to that. So that is all I have.
Great. Thank you, Director Yearwood. Director Reyes?
The Tuesday informational board meeting, which we had the 29th of September, where we were able to invite the public to understand, and we were able to get information. It was not an action, how would you call this, meeting, and it was really good. I liked the fact that we were able to discuss Larchmont and start clearing up some, words that what it meant to one meant to the other one. I think that's very valuable. I wanted to commend staff with the information they were able to give. And I also really liked hearing, always want to hear what our public or what our residents hear and know and understand. Because most of the time, I think most of the time where there's wasted time with conflict is miscommunication. So that was very good. I really enjoyed that, and I think they did too. They appreciated it. The other workshop that I attended was on October 13th. I attended the Rancho Cordova City Council work session on the Measure H funds, which is kind of like this whole big thing where the first round of Measure H funds, and I don't know, was it 3 million or something like that, was awarded, and they showed the different, obviously the different recipients of it. And I was very pleased that you were able to at least express that, because it's real important that our public know we did apply with everything there. And at that time, the Measure H funds were decidedly given elsewhere. And so it was interesting to also, I must say, we were there to be able to see to it that our district was with the same information and expectations that were written here, because there were Measure H funds that were awarded to, I don't know whether they're agencies or groups that were to make the improvements on park property without the park being involved. So there were some concerns, and Aaron Bush did an excellent job of being able to explain to the city council and to the residents there that some of them were not, they had to give back the money, and the people, the organizations or the agencies totally understood, because to put the dog park in a certain park, they went and the city awarded money on that. But later to find out that the park was never brought into the picture, so park was never able to tell them, this is not where it's supposed to be done. And I felt bad because, so these 3 of the 4 projects that were given Measure H, but I couldn't understand what that whole process was, that the city did not make sure that when they checked the applications, that all the stakeholders or all the partners, it's to do improvement in property that's not yours, and you don't have the property owner's input. I think that would be a red flag when we used to apply for grants. So anyway, however, Aaron Bush did an excellent job of representing and most especially to the residents, and and the city council, and I don't think any of them had any concerns after they had talked to him. Also, the city council members that were there were Sanders, Budge, McGarvey, and Donald Terry. Skoglund wasn't there. I was there till about 3 o'clock, give or take, from noon, and what happened there was I didn't see Skoglund come in. So those are the ones. It was also very interesting, to see how some of the other partners, were there, and the whole process and understanding it. One of the other properties that I was just interested in seeing and was discussed was the Mills Park Station building. And that there was money that had been requested, and that the funding for it. And it was very educating to see what they wanted to do with the building. It was acknowledged that right now the RT has the park, and that's why I was very interested, has the park kind of like leasing or maintaining, managing it for them. But it sounds like they have decided to authorize their staff to proceed with a potential 7 to 800,000 remodel of the Mills station, to turn it into, at least the bottom floor was what they kept showing us, to turn it into maybe an art exhibit or so. But it was acknowledged it's kind of small, it's really small, and that they would not really be able to have it as a museum, but more like little shows. So anyway, that was interesting. And then they had great questions as to, how do you measure success, or what are the success metric system for, let's say, the police, the crime suppression unit. That was fun. I have, with whatever notes I could put down, my copy here. If any of you board members are interested in looking at some of my comments, please feel free to do that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Reyes. Secretary Lombard.
Yes, I do. Attended the Tuesday informational board meeting, and I think it was a really good step in that community feeling like the Park District was hearing them, and that they were hearing the Park District, like closer to a mutual understanding. And so I thought that was extremely helpful. I attended the Rosemont Community Association meeting on October 1st, where our Administrator Riddams came and gave a presentation to the Rosemont Community Association, and mainly about the financing for the district and the funding and how that happens. And I thought it was well received. I'll leave that there. They didn't really continue the discussion after you left the room. And then in great martyrdom, on my birthday, I attended the College Greens East Owners Association meeting. And again, I walked away feeling that things were improved. The relationship between that community and the Park District has been improving, and they were very thankful that Administrator Rodhams came, that board members came. I think they felt erroneously, in my opinion, that they weren't being heard in the past, but they now at least are coming around to believing that they are in fact listened to and their concerns are taken into consideration. That's all.
Great, thank you. Vice Chair Sloan?
Okay. September 20th, I attended the Brecca picnic out at Larchmont Riviera East Park. It was a nice event. The district supplied some games and some prizes. It was very nice. Andrea helped with that. And on October 1st, I also attended the Rosemont Community Association meeting, and it was nice to see the presentation that Jim had for us for the Rosemont community. It was very well accepted. It was a nice presentation, and they were very happy. Also, and by the way, it's their homecoming is this Friday, and they have a parade. And any director I invite to come out. I think you show up about 3:00 on the boulevard there. What's the boulevard? The main? Kiefer. And you can either walk in the parade or just watch the parade, and it's really nice. October 5th, I also attended the College Greens East Homeowner Association meeting. And once again, I thought the district was well prepared, well spoken. The community heard us. We heard them, which is probably more important. I know they're feeling like they're pushed out of their own park, that they don't have a space where they can just even go and just play and relax and read a book without a soccer ball flying by. And also, the traffic problem is a major issue. It really has been more and more progressing at that facility. And I guess what's on the tables now is that we've cut back, and we've given them ultimatums, the soccer groups, and if they don't abide by the rules, they will probably have no more tournaments out there, is what I heard. So we'll see how the future dictates on this one. On October 6th, I attended the Rancho Cordova Athletic Association meeting. This was a meeting that preceded the big inaugural swearing in of awarding the Hall of Fame, the first first inaugural Hall of Fame. Here's the program. We had a lot of professional athletes and great members of the community, coaches, teachers, whatever, honored. It was the first of many to come, and it was a nice job here at City Hall. We also, on that meeting, we discussed the distribution of a $50,000 distribution for maintenance on school property that would be from the Community Enhancement Fund grant projects. That, I guess there's $50,000 that's going to be divvied out between the sports organizations in Rancho Cordova that share school property, right? And they talked about the Positive Coaching Alliance, which is, it's really moving ahead, and we're going to have a couple of good, some nice workshops, maybe 3 or 4 workshops. Is that what it was, Michael?
It changed a little bit from their initial meetings with them, and PCA came back with something different, so they have to work on what it's going to look like, because it's not what we thought it was originally. So
Right.
that's still in the works.
And on October 7th, that was a busy week for me, I tell you. I had the California Association of Recreation and Parks, the CRPD quarterly meeting, in which we finalized the date for our conference next year, and that is going to be on May 19th through the 22nd, so jot that down in your calendars. And once again, the almighty dollar came forward and dictated where it's going to be. We just can't beat the price and the savings of having it up there in South Lake Tahoe at the Tahoe Resort Hotel. We tried to break away back to Monterey, but it was a $20,000 difference. It's unbelievable. So with that, we also discussed that almighty bill, the SB 317, which the districts are all waiting to hear whether per capita we're going to be divvied out a share of 2.4 or something billion dollars, a lot of money that we're going to be sharing. Is it that one, or is it 500 million? I think it's maybe the 500 million. Was that the one?
They keep changing.
Yeah, yeah. They keep changing it, and what I heard now is it's going to be shelved till next year because of I don't know, maybe the election. They're going to wait into putting it on the ballot, but it's for Safe Neighborhood Parks, Rivers, and Coastal Protection Bond Act. That's one that I think we could be getting some funds for. And also, we had the election for the Capri representative, and unfortunately, our own Inez Reyes was not elected. For the first time, we had 8 applications for the one spot, which they normally have none to one. And so the person that was elected was Tim Berry from Livermore. And so next time.
It's just a wonderful thing for them to start hearing that we are players, that we're there.
Right.
So I was glad to put in for it.
And that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Vice Chair Sloan. I attended many of the same meetings the rest of the board did, so I will try and keep it short. I did attend the special meeting of the Rancho Cordova City Council where they did pass the resolution on the pool. The next morning, I was at our informational meeting where we did talk about the pool and things like that, and we were able to hear from the public, which was nice. Director Yearwood and myself attended the Rancho Cordova City Hall meeting on October 5th, and the other 3 board members attended the meeting at the Red Barn? The Crawford Barn, to discuss soccer. So there was 2 major meetings that the Park District needed to be at that night. So Director Yearwood and I and some staff were here for City Council meeting, and the other 3 and Administrator Rodham's headed to the Crawford Barn to talk about those issues. Some insights come out of that. I think everybody's gotten the email on the traffic study. So if you have not read it, please do. It was a very quick, interesting read. I did attend, as the representative of the Cordova Recreation and Park District, the Sacramento LAFCO Special Districts Advisory Committee, October 6th. Not a lot was discussed at this one other than the upcoming election for the LAFCO representative. LAFCO typically has one or two people outside from the special district side apply. This year, there's one incumbent and five people applying for that position. I am the one that our district has chosen to run. I got a chance to read the resumes for them. I know that Secretary Lineback, her district has also put a representative up. But it's very interesting that there's four out of the six. There's four park districts that have decided that they need representation, which I think is a great thing. We've had water representing us on the special district side for quite a while, and it's time that needs to change. But some of the representatives, some put in no resume whatsoever. One of the gentlemen put in a 15-page resume. I think it was triple spaced and everything to make it look long, but it was very interesting. And then I did attend as Director Reyes did, I also did attend the Community Enrichment Fund, formerly known as Measure H, on the 13th. Unfortunately, I had to leave at 2 o'clock that day. The city did make special arrangements because they were going to get to the park part of the program after I had to leave. So I went to the interim city manager and asked. He cleared it through the mayor, so they were able to do it before I had to leave. They did feel that that myself and Director Reyes did need to be able to hear that part. So I do thank the city for making those arrangements. The four items that were there, as Director Reyes said, everything, from a dog park to a exercise course to a frisbee golf to live streamers, irrigation. One of those projects is further along than the other. Some of them are a no-go at this point, having to find different locations. I know the disc golf, if I remember correctly, the city has said the location it was going in a drainage ditch basically is not a viable location, so they're looking at a new location for that. So there is, because of some of the projects that were pulled, some of that money went back into the city enrichment funds. Other than that, it was a slow month. So, yeah, it really was. But I'm glad that everything is going well. I'm glad we were able to attend the meetings to listen to our constituents on some major issues that have happened in our district in the last 6 months or longer. So I'd like to thank the staff for that. Also, I'm going to bring up something that this is the best time I think to do it because it's in my report. Dealing with the golf course. So Matt, I'm going to direct it at you because it has to do with the staff at the pro shop. I'm not sure that you're actually the one that deals with them, but I would like to commend Jacob Marta for his work with foot golf out there. The man is living and breathing foot golf. There's through Twitter, there's something called Periscope, and Jacob is on Periscope and talking about our golf course and giving virtual lessons in a sense through there. But he's constantly talking about foot golf and what it is and how to get people out there. He, as I was driving in this evening, he was talking to some young kids that had never played foot golf before. They were all soccer players, but they came to learn about the game. And but I'd like to let him know, other than me telling him, because I've told him many times that he's doing a phenomenal job out there promoting something that some golf courses wouldn't even get near. And he's only one of, I'm going to say, 3 or 4 golf courses in the nation that's talking about foot golf publicly the way he is. And he is pushing the issue in a positive way. We are lucky enough that foot golf is such a huge sport here in Sacramento that I think we've got 9 members of the U.S. foot golf national team that are getting ready to play in Argentina that actually use our course as one of their training grounds, which is a phenomenal thing. So they're helping us improve that course by being national players, but they're also giving our course, I don't know the word I want to use, but that, we actually have a course that's playable, and I know Jacob's working with them to try and find a way that in a year or two maybe make our course the course that the national championship gets played on. It was played this year in Chicago, and I got to watch that, which was very interesting to see because they were playing right off of Lake Michigan, and it was just miserable watching him kick the ball. But he's doing a phenomenal job out there, so I just want to make sure that he knows that.
Thank you. I'll let him know.
Thank you. That is it for my report. Let's go to the next section here. Let's go to item H2, Clerk of the Board, Board Officer Appointments and Elections. Administrator Rooms.
I'll read this one. This is the one night where Danielle being gone probably is a little more awkward for me than anyone else. Item H2 is to appoint 2 directors to the ad hoc committee for the annual evaluation of the district administrator. I will read this. Board members, after completing several cycles of the annual evaluation for the district administrator, directors have suggested that an ad hoc committee be convened to evaluate the form, content, and procedures for the evaluation. According to the district policy, appointments to the ad hoc committees do not require a vote of the full board. Chairperson makes the appointments directly. The ad hoc committee for the annual evaluation of the district administrator will be comprised of 2 board members and at least 1 staff member. The ad hoc committee meetings are not subject to agenda posting requirements under the Ralph M. Brown Act. Committee will be dissolved following the report to the full board.
Thank you, Administrator Rodens. On that, since it is my appointment, I would like to appoint Director Leinbach and myself, Chair Danzel, to the ad hoc committee for the annual evaluation of the district administrator and appoint staff member Andrea White. I would like to schedule our first meeting for Tuesday, October 27th at 8:30 a.m. Okay, let's move on to item I, presentations, quarterly department updates.
Now, I wanted to let the board know, I've sort of instructed staff to be as brief as possible this evening. We have a number of closed session items that I am cognizant of keeping people here late. So just to let you know, if they sound like they're talking fast and not giving you a whole lot, it's because they've been directed by me to be as brief as possible. So with that, we'll start with park planning and development. And Laura Taylor.
Okay, I love this because I get to show you pictures of what we're doing, and I do have a slideshow we're pulling up here, and I'll just go ahead and go through it fast. Some of the items have actually already been covered. We talked about the Cordova Community Pool and the fact that we're opening the bids tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and then we'll be reviewing those and bringing to you next month at your board meeting a recommendation as to an award and a contract to proceed with. The Hillside Park is over in the Somerset subdivision off of Americanos, north of the Sunridge Park area. They've been grading like crazy. These pictures are 2 weeks old, but you can see one of the pictures that's real interesting here is the play hill on the lower right. We formed, that's where some of the play equipment's going to go on the hillside. We've been forming the play areas, the plazas, the walkways. We poured concrete since these forms were put up. It's proceeding along. We expect at this time, weather contingent, that this park will be ready to open to the public in March, and that's after a 90-day warranty period. So, maintenance period. These are some more pictures of Hillside Park. The Salmon Falls Park, right after the town hall meeting we had on Salmon Falls, we started on construction, and you'll notice that this diagram is slightly different than the diagram you've seen before. We ended up discovering that there were some rather large catch basins in the site, and so we adjusted that decomposed granite plaza in the center, offset it, and it looks great. And if you drive by that site right now, it's nearly finished, and it's really a nice addition with all the new trees and the boulders. We've scraped off all the turf and we've replaced it with mulch. And this picture here is one of the fun things about that project was John Biendo went out and hand-picked the boulders from the Roundtree Landscaping, and then that company owner came out and the Park Services staff placed those boulders very carefully. They worked to kind of add some extra seating. We don't have benches going into that park, but those boulders give a place where people can pause and sit and reflect, and it's really coming together very nicely. Heron Landing Park, all of the 100% construction documents have been submitted to all the agencies for permits. We expect to be bringing to you at your next board meeting approval to release that project for public bids, and then review of those bids in December, and then coming for a contract award in January for Heron Landing Park. What this picture shows is we've got some butterfly shade structures around the play areas and the splash pad. Just trying to show you something new and different every time I get the opportunity. The splash pad, that's a rendering of the splash pad amenities that have been specified for that park. Cobblestone Park, that's the one in Capitol Village, Phase 3. We're expecting the construction to start on that park in the next 30 days. They have built some trail connections that go from the Villages of Zinfandel trail system along the north side of that subdivision, and they go into the Capitol Village Phase 3. Those are going to be really nice connections because they'll bring the Villages of Zinfandel neighborhood into the ability to access Cobblestone Park and keep on walking to the Village Green Park. And then vice versa, the Capitol Village folks will be able to walk through Cobblestone Park, down the little asphalt trail, and access the Villages of Zinfandel trail system. So it's a real nice connection that's going in. We've met with the 4 agencies' involvement in the Chase Drive Measure H project. Soilborne Farms was the lead applicant on this project, and we assisted them and helped them in putting together the engineering cost estimate. The project was approved by the city for the design. We're excited that this 4-agency project, going to be one that we're all going to partner on and make a success. And the project is strictly for design in this phase, but you can see that the roundabout in the lower right-hand corner, that's kind of like the main entry point that we're looking at enhancing as entrances into Soilborne and into our park, and then kind of cleaning up the entry down to where our access drives makes a right-hand turn to access the rest of the park. The Sacramento County Regional Parks is involved because of the trail connection that we're going to run alongside of that to connect to the American River Parkway between the end of Chase Drive and the American River Parkway. The Folsom Cordova School District's involved because we're actually looking at the project all the way up to Coloma and Chase intersection and doing wayfinding signage and kind of looking at that whole corridor. So we've had the first design meeting, and we're looking forward to several more. And then what will happen is we'll develop some construction plans construction phases out of the design process that can be individually cost estimated, and then we'll seek funding for those different projects out of different sources. The Cordova High School coordination project, which is also was precipitated by some of the town hall comments that were received during the Measure H process by the city, where we've been working on the trail connection between Ambassador Drive and does this have a little, oh, I can't really show it. Oh, there you go. I can't really, let me show you that, just in case you're not familiar with this.
It turns into a small dot.
Oh, I can't get to
Yeah.
it. Well, there is a trail corridor that was very dark. It's right next to the last house on Ambassador Drive. We've cleaned out the vegetation. Park Services is going to talk a little bit about that because they've done a lot of work out there. But we're looking at straightening out the alignment and adjusting an easement because as you can see here, some of our facilities are encroaching upon school district property. So we've talked to the school district. We need to get an easement from them. That's going to be part of the next school district 2x2 meeting. That'll be an agenda item on that.
Real quick, so is that blue line on there, the property, is that the property line in sense?
According
Oh.
to the,
Only off by a little.
the county recorder's office records. And so we do have to verify it, but it's
Wow.
probably not far off. So,
Yeah, I was told years ago that was a handshake deal between Paul and the superintendent of the school district.
Missed it by that
Just because
much.
they didn't know what to do with that property at the time, and the park district had enough vehicles and needed that maintenance yard, so that was the deal there. But yeah, that's been a very interesting line for many, many years.
so we'll get it cleaned up here in the near future. I just want to bring your attention, there's a project that's come before the city for review that we've provided comments on that will impact us. And Veranda at Stone Creek is a single-family housing project where, if you're familiar with the Alexander Collection, which is just east of the Navigator Elementary School, it's a similar type housing development in that vacant lot just south of that. And it's right across the street from our Stone Creek Park. And they also are adding some additional trail corridors, but they are trail corridors that were originally planned in the specific plan for this entire project of Villages as Infidel. And so they will be coming to us, and we will be monitoring the design and construction of those. And you'll be eventually seeing them come before you for acceptance. Okay, that's all I have to show you, and I have a pretty detailed report in your packet, so if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Ms. Taylor at this time?
Laura, on the Salmon Falls, I thought that was an excellent change because you had the circle by itself up here to break it up. I thought that really, the continuity of it's nice. I love the flow. Yeah, I would love to see a couple benches out there. I mean, I don't want people sitting on rocks. And that's the whole idea about the park. If you're going to do something nice like that, let's make it more inviting for the public to use it, rather than, well, we can go to the park and sit on a rock and read a book. I want to sit on a bench.
I totally appreciate what you're saying. And so one of the things that we're working on is kind of coming up with a menu of when Eagle Scouts or community members come to us with proposed memorial donations or service projects, and we can say, hey, look, we have these needs, right? And
Right.
kind of direct them to where those needs are. And so that's going to be one of those things that's going to be on that list. So.
Well, thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Taylor? Director Reyes?
I just wanted to commend you. I really enjoy reading your reports, and the attachments really helped me out a lot. So I appreciate that. But there's only one thing that I noticed that stands out for me here. I wanted to commend you. I wanted to congratulate you for being elected to the one-year term with the American Society of Landscape Architects, Sierra, California local chapter. It's real important. That's one of our goals and priorities, so that we become a leader out there and to participate and to represent us in that. Congratulations, and thank you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Final call for any questions from Ms. Taylor. Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
With that, we'll move on to Park Services. This evening, filling in for Jerry Dobbs is Jim Morales.
Good evening. We did some, as Laura said earlier, we have just a few slides here. Is it going? Oh, I'm sorry. So as Laura was saying earlier, that off of Ambassador Drive, that Ambassador Alley, as we call it, was very overgrown and kind of dark. And so we went through there and we had our crews go through there and remove pretty much all the brush, cleaned up the area, really opened it up, and made it a safer area for the students and pedestrians to get through. And these are just a couple of pictures here represented. On the left of your screen, all that brush and shrubs and things that we removed, everything. So it's very open and very safe for the people to get through there. This is an accident that happened at Hagen Park back on the Hagen Cordova School Access Road. I believe it was a Sunday afternoon, we had a vehicle come to the park, pay its fees, and then for some reason they decided to drive through, which was a barricade here. We had some barricades up and some roadblock stuff to block it off so people weren't cutting through the park and whatnot. And this is part of our barricade and a few other things that ended up out of this vehicle. The vehicle hit the barricades, I believe flipped over, and I heard there was 4 people in the vehicle and they ran. So a tow truck came, towed it away. This is how it looks now. This was similar to how it was barricaded. Next slide. We had Toro and Raymaster come out to our facility and do a day training. This is just a picture here of a field day. Prior to this, at the office, they discussed new ways of better monitoring our systems and saving water. So this here, they're showing some different types of sprinklers, nozzles, things like that for being more efficient with water. VOZ bike trail. So I worked on this project. One of the homeowners in the VOZ area off of Fiore Drive, homeowner Marty McConey, he asked to have some wood chips similar to the Eagle Scout project put along here on this path. And so what we did is he said he would get the work together, he would do the work. So I supplied him with the wood chips and he spread them. So this is a couple before and this is one after, and I'm not sure if I have one more here. And this is one more when he was completed. So the homeowner.
All you have to do is ask, Michael.
Yeah.
Ask now.
And I hope to be working with him to give him some more because he wants to do some more on the backside of his property. So it was received really well. This here is a piece of the dismantled heater core from the heater at the Hagen Pool facility that I'd say it's 90% copper. It was dismantled by Don and David, our aquatics employees, and they had taken it apart and were taking the materials to the recycler to, get the scrap metal monies and put it back into our account. Well, this piece here probably, they estimated weighed about 400 pounds. They dismantled it, got it out of the pool house and out to the ground, and the next day when we came into work, it was gone. So somebody stole it. They put an estimate of about $400 on it, but we're not sure how they got it over the fence or through the fence because, again, it was extremely heavy. We were going to bring the tractor to pick it up and load it. Again, about 90% copper. Let's see, the next one is we had a work day at the corporation yard, so all staff was involved on this. We assigned different jobs and things, and this one here is the wall that is along that Ambassador Alley trail. And we did some truck assignments, so Scott Linvall and his crew, their job was to clean that section of the yard, do some numbering of the vehicles so the vehicles would be better parked at the end of the day. So just getting more organized at our facility. And we did a lot of cleanup that day. Some of the crew here doing some priming, painting, We replaced a lot of fascia board. That building 4 is old and needed in dire need of work. Replaced the gutters on that building also. Very successful. Backyard, some crew members cleaning up some material that I just found out is not on our property. So this is it here. We're doing some more work. So where he's at is not our property. And I just saw the line. I thought it was further out. So let's see, next one. This is Paul Stoddard. He's cleaning out some of our storage areas and installing some shelving in there and whatnot. And that is all I have. And if you have any questions on the written report, I can answer those for you.
Any questions? Hearing none, let's move on.
Thank you, Jim. We're moving on to Diane Robinson with Recreation.
Good evening. Sorry, no PowerPoint for me. But as you read, my supervisors did an amazing job with their staff reports. I just have to take this time to brag about my staff, both full-time and part-time. We had a great summer, lots of new kids in camp, a lot of returning kids in camp, and I give the credit to the part-time staff and the full-time staff that put the programs on, and the kids come back, the families come back each year because it's such a great program. Our hideout, Rashad has got close to 30 kids every day in the Hideout Teen Center. He started off doing memberships this year, and his goal is to hit 55 by the end of the school year. He's probably at 50 by now. A couple weeks ago, he was close to 49, so he's gonna get there. He actually has a teen council this year. He's got 5 kids in the teen council. They started putting together bylaws. They went through training with Danielle. And I sat in on their first meeting and went back to report to Danielle that she did a good job, and she should be the proud mama of that little teen council there. So they're kind of cute. Our preschool program over at Hagen, as hard as it was to leave the little kindergarten classrooms that had the sinks, the bathrooms, and everything for our preschoolers, back over to Hagen, where we have a portable classroom, it's full. We have 2 classes of 25 kids each. And because we had a long waiting list, we opened up White Rock this week with 8 kids, and it will continue to grow. So that too is doing well. Saturday, Halloween at Hagen. Wear your costume, come on out and have a good time. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Any questions for Ms. Robinson at this time? Director Reyes.
I just wanted to comment, Diane, again, I enjoyed your report, the quarterly stats and all this, and it really looks like you and your team is doing a bang-up job. Really, I mean, revenue increase of 86,000 compared to this time. Good job. Please tell them all. And to see new programs and lots of programs, this is exciting. I'm thrilled. Just wanted you to know, and you guys did a great job.
Thank you. I will pass that on.
Keep it up.
Okay.
Next report.
Moving along, we have Vivian Kazanis with Communications.
Good evening. I've got a very short PowerPoint presentation that encompasses really social media and some of our marketing materials. This is graphs for Facebook specifically. Our Facebook usage and views continue to grow almost exponentially. We've had our average, where it was somewhere around the 800 average views per post in the last quarter, is now up to 1,127 average views per post, which basically means that sometimes we have upwards of 3,000 views on a single post. We have more followers every month, and they've grown up to 1,188. Another of our social media is Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a growing media platform. The areas, that's an outline of our district, that map. The areas in green are active Nextdoor communities. The areas that are brown are communities that are doing a trial run right now, and the rest of it in the light green has not been created yet. So there's a lot of chance for growth there. And more homes are being added on those next door neighborhoods. We've done 15 posts to next door in the last quarter. And as you can see with the 11 of those posts, we reached about 9,000 households each time. One post was very specific, 333 households, and then 3 posts were 350 households. Go ahead. This is some of our marketing. You've seen, I'm sure, most of these, and some were included. Some of our marketing collateral for events. We've done stuff for town halls and meetings, programs for the Hideout Teen Center, Winter Camp. We did some for some late summer camp for certain classes, facilities, and some recent job announcements. And then the next slide is just some more marketing materials. The rest of my information is in my report. Do any of you have any questions for me today?
Any questions? Mr. Rood?
I'm sorry. I know you're working on the spring, summer recreation guide, is that correct?
Yes.
Meeting or two back, I had asked for us to look into the possibility of including a directory of the local youth sports programs. Is that something we can look